Hello everyone, this is Asiel Baez and I am your Friday night host here with Thewitchesvoice. Today's video is about cleansing rituals and the things that we do either in your religion and or tradition and or personal lifestyle for cleansing either the aura, the body, or objects that are going to be used for anything specific. When it comes to Santeria per se and Ocha and the Lukumi tradition, we have one main form of consecrating objects, and that is something that we do that's called lavatorio, or the washing. And lavatorio is a particular ceremony with which we consecrate everything we do, and it's used with different herbs and different substances that are particularly used in something that's called omiero. So that is the main form in my tradition in which we consecrate anything and everything that can possibly be consecrated for anything religious. Because of the influence of Espiritismo and just spiritual practices overall that have influenced the religion and the ethnicity of the Hispanic race, a lot of people tend to use very strong fragrances, like for example in the most famous being Florida water. A lot of people tend to get regular water and they pray like tap water or rain water or river water, ocean water, swamp water, depending on what you're consecrating for whom or whatever it's happening. A lot of people will get some of that water, they'll pray over that, and then they'll add substances like Florida water and the other one is Cologne 1800 and violet water, sandalwood water. Like a lot of people add, there's very strong colognes that people sell or businesses sell, and a lot of people use those because the belief is that those very strong substances attract the spirits, whatever spirits it is that you're calling. And some of them, like Pompeii lotion, I think that's what it's called, Pompeii or Pompeii or something like that. I forgot how to pronounce it. That's mainly used, for example, for the gypsy spirits, whereas Florida water, is used as a generic for everybody, for any sort of spirit. Florida water has gained that particular reputation for its fragrance, that it attracts those entities. So those are two main forms of cleansing rituals when it comes to the Lukumi faith. There's other cleansing rituals in which people submerge things into the river water or they go into the actual ocean and they just submerge things into the ocean and that cleanses it. One of my favorite ways of cleansing anything is just to get simple tap water, pray over it, then add some salt, pray a little bit more over it, and just envision a lot of pure white positive energy just vibrating off from the base or whatever it is, the container that I'm using for consecrating, and then using that water to either wash this thing, leaving the thing inside. Like if it's a crystal or something, I usually just tend to submerge it into the water and leave it there, like under the sunlight, the moonlight, or overnight, anywhere, wherever it is that I'm putting it. That is like a basic another basic cleansing ritual that a lot of people know and a lot of people follow is just salt water. And a lot of times when you go to Catholic churches, a lot of times, if not all, usually the holy water is just simple water that the priest has dropped a few pinches of salt in it, and then they just said a prayer over it. In some Catholic churches, then they just simply use regular water, and then the priest just prays over it. Another way of cleansing yourself is to add powders and things to your skin. Let's say that you're trying to attract something in particular and or banish something out of your life. Certain substances, like for example in Ocha we use cascarilla, which is called efun. In English it's called powder eggshell, and this is a white little substance, and I have a video in my personal YouTube page about cascarilla and efun and some of its uses. A lot of people rub themselves, and a lot of people add cascarilla into the baths that they're doing for themselves and for whatever they're cleansing. So that's another way, is adding certain substances, which it can include herbs. Another favorite form of mine of cleansing myself is through baths and spiritual baths. There's certain herbs in particular times that I feel like I need to just cleanse myself with them and or attract them into me. So there's certain particular ones that I've grown because of their smell, and particularly because of their smell, that I tend to get them, and you just get the herbs if they're nice and fresh. I live in Miami, so obviously it's very easy for me to get a lot of herbs nice and fresh. So you get them and you just we call them the movement ritual in Spanish. I forgot what it, you just start breaking it off, and I forgot how to say this in English right now, but the point is to allow the plant to release its substances into the water, and you're going to shred it. So with your hands you're going to be shredding the herbs, and you're just going to shred it all as you mentally focus into sending into the movement and the vibration of the water with the herbs, and the herbs with the water, and the release of the substances and the energies from the earth from the herb into the water. So the point of that is to carry within you or without you, on you, the energies of that particular herb. Some of the herbs that are very easily accessible here in Miami, and one in particular that I've grown very fond of, is called Laurel Indio, and my godson was the one who actually pointed that one in particularly out for me. And the minute I smelled it, I was like, oh, this is amazing, and I loved it, and I've loved it ever since, to just give myself baths with Laurel Indio. And this is a particular, it's like bay leaves, but it's called Indian Bay, and it has a beautiful smell. I just freaking love it, and I've grown very fond of that particular herb. But anyways, let me think. A major Wiccan way, if not the main Wiccan way of consecrating things, is usually passing something through the four elements, like incense to represent air, then a candle to pass it through the fire for the element of fire, and then they sprinkle it with water that has been mixed with salt, and that's the last two elements. By placing it on the pentacle, that's the fifth element, or some people hold it up to the universe and then they ask the god and the goddess to bless it. A lot of people just put it on the pentacle. Myself, personally, if I do Wiccan rituals, I place everything on the pentacle, and then I just place both hands over it, and then that's how I ask for the blessing to happen from spirit. A lot of times I also get things and I tend to wash it in just regular tap water, and then I'll put it with an orisha. For example, like if it's something in particular that I'm consecrating for them, I tend to place it next to them for a few days. Then I do whatever else I'm going to do, and then I put it back on them. That's just something that I slowly realized that I developed, and that's usually maybe because I have a lot of things that I'm usually trying to work on. So I start to prepare myself by mentally seeing it next to the orisha, and once I can get to it, then I just simply continue with it. So for example, it's like I'll get a bell and I want to do something particular to that bell. I'll usually start grabbing it and see where I'm going to do with it, where I'm going to put it. I usually leave it with the orisha. I'll wash it up. I'll put it with the orisha. I'll wash it in like regular water, depending on the item. Remember what I'm saying, but I'll wash it either with regular water or with something quick, like just something quick, anything spiritual that I can get nice and quick, and then I'll place it with them. Then I'll finish doing an actual ritual on it, and then I'll do whatever decoration I'm going to do, whatever it is that I'm going to do, and then I'll place it back with the orisha. But that happens depending on the item. Some items I don't place on the orishas until they're fully consecrated and ready to go. Let me think. The use of crystals is another way of cleansing. A lot of people tend to pass a crystal over their aura, and you visualize positive energy and or you're filling in gaps that you may find, holes that you may find in your aura or anything like that. The point is, guys, that cleansing rituals are used in every single religion, in every faith. There's always something that people do to either feel physically and spiritually clean, or clean something that they're dedicating for their particular spiritual practice. Every religion has one way or another of cleansing things. The point of cleansing rituals is that you need to be present. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you just need to be present. If you're passing an object through sage, there's a difference between just simply grabbing it and passing it through the sage smoke. Let's pretend. But the point of the cleansing ritual is that you are focused. At that point, you are just, there's nothing else in your mind besides your cleansing ritual and what you're doing. And you have your sage going. This is just like a regular pagan way of consecrating things, a modern day way of consecrating things. And you have your sage going. And the point is that when you're passing it through your sage, it's the only thing in your mind should be what you're envisioning at that point, and it's cleansing this object. It is you mentally sending your vibrations into this object, asking spirit, the god, the goddess, whatever deity it is that you're calling, whatever spirit guide it is that you're calling, to physically cleanse it and rid it of any negative energy, of any unwanted things that you may have. It has been touched by, or it has been next to, or it has been around of, like buildings or houses or people touching it or whatever. The point is to make it yours personally. I also like, and a lot of people I've noticed that they don't like to do this. This was something that I've just noticed that a lot of people like to just cleanse and then that's it. I like to cleanse and then fill in. So if I'm cleansing this item, after it's been cleansed, let's say that we're passing it through the four elements. After it went through the smoke of the air, the flame of the fire, and then the sprinkle of the water, of the salted water, we put it on the altar pentacle, the center tile, and we're gonna cleanse it. We're gonna ask Spirit to cleanse it, purify it, and consecrate it. So after that's done, I usually like to hold the item, and then I will visualize personal energy. If this will be a personal item, then I will visualize personal energy just submerging from the crown, more usually from the third eye, just spreading out, coming out through the arms, and then into the item itself and filling in the item. Let's say, for example, your particular ritual tools like your athami, your wands, your actual altar tire, your chalice, anything like that tends to be a personal item. I tend to send in energy. Your pentacle, that's a big thing that I tend to constantly send in personal energy into, and that is to then fill it up, because after you have cleansed something spiritually, it is usually neutral. It is neutral to personal energy, and it is neutral to spiritual energy. Okay, so once it's neutral, you have to fill it up. If it's something that you're going to use physically for yourself and personally, then fill it up. My recommendation is for you to then, after it's been cleansed, that you fill it up in your hands, you hold it, and you charge it up with personal energy, with your being, with what makes you you, so then that particular item gets connected to you. Afterwards, you can also charge it in the personal statement of what it's going to be used for. Like, you're going to be used for this and that and the other, and or you're consecrated for this deity, that spirit, or the other entity, and usually you will go ahead and you place it in your altar, and as you're calling the entity, as you're using the entity or whatever, obviously the object is going to suck in energy of that particular entity, and it'll just continue on. But the point is that when you're cleansing, the whole point of it is to be present and knowing that you are cleansing and consecrating an item for something sacred and or for a particular purpose. So that's pretty much it. That's all I gotta say for this video. I'm just gonna keep it there. You guys, for those of you who do not know me and are probably tuning in now and getting to know me, I'm one of the newer members of Thewitchesvoice. This is the first video of this season after the introduction videos. Check me out on my personal page, Asieloshunyeyeo. I'm going to put a little link or my written name on the bottom of this video. My online store is on Oni Designs. You can find me on Facebook, the page, and my personal page. You just look up Asiel Baez and you'll find me there. And make sure to subscribe on my YouTube also. And I hope you guys enjoy Thewitchesvoice. And if you're not subscribed to Thewitchesvoice, please subscribe. We're going to be bringing more videos. And find me and subscribe to me also, please, and thank you. And I think that's pretty much it for now. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me express some of my cleansing rituals and my opinions. And I will see you guys later. Ache. 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 Do. Bye, you guys.